Goblins and Adventurers, welcome to this videos on dice, skill roll, and gap. In BFD, we use 6-sided die. There is 4 symbols on these dice. The first is the minus, which indicates a -1. The second is the 0, which indicates a 0. Then you have the plus, which indicates a +1. And then you have the explosion, which indicates a +2. Plus you add another dice to your roll. It is to note that the dice are available in physical version from Calamus Hill. You can also just use this table to convert the dice to regular 6-sided die, or you can use the free app that is available for all devices. So for the average kill of someone in Battle for Diratia would be a 3 for someone that is professional in their craft, 0 for someone who is just starting or doesn't know how to use the skill, or 8 for someone like Usain Bolt or Magnus Carlsen. We're now going to talk about skill challenges. So every time you roll in BFD, there's always going to be an opposing roll. The opposing roll will either be the player you're facing or the DM. For example, if you want to roll for stealth, you might roll against another player who will put against his perception characteristic, or against the DM who can put a difficulty depending on the situation. We'll now do an example of a skill challenge. In this example, the player will have a skill of 2 against a difficulty of 2 established by the DM. So the player rolls, and then rolls a 3, and then the DM rolls, and rolls a 1. The difference between these two rolls will be 2, which is what we call the gap, which the gap is the degree of success or failure. Since this is a skill that is not currently being impeded by anything else, we will be using the time spent table to establish that because he has a gap of 2, instead of taking him 1 hour to build his encampment, it will take him 20 minutes. We will now talk about Heroism. In a normal game of BFD, each character on the field will have only 1 dice. If you want a more heroic feel for some NPC or player character, you can give them 2 dice and a +2 wheel for morale roll. If you want an even more epic game, you can use 3 dice for specific characters, for example the big villain, or for your main character. We'll now talk about criticals. So a critical happens if you roll 2 or more dice and all the dice have the same symbol. The symbol needs to be either all explosion for a critical success or all negative for a critical fail. A critical success will give you an advantage, and if you're in combat you can use the critical table, and a critical fail will give you a disadvantage. It is to note that there is no auto success or auto failure. If you're trying to convince a king to give you all of his asset and you roll a critical success, yeah, he might not kill you, but you're not going to get all his asset automatically just because you roll a critical success. Same thing for a critical failure. If you're very good at combat and you roll a critical failure against a very small goblin, you might fall during the combat, but you'll still beat the goblin. Thank you so much for watching this video. We'll see you in the next one, which is how to damage.